If I make six figures this year and I've heard 100,000 no's, I get $1 every time someone tells me no. And that kind of reinvigorates me walking through the door. That gets me excited. There was a time when I was a district and I actually ran a contest on who could get the most no's in a day.
Welcome back to the LA Legends, the podcast where Aflac pros sharpen their skills, share success stories, and build the next generation of leaders in the LA South market. I am Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Today's episode is a special episode and in a new format. So please listen to the previous episode we had with Matt Cook. Previously, we talked about the big picture from onboarding to developing people. And this week, we're going to do something a little bit different. We've collected questions from our team, right? Associates, district sales coordinators, regional sales coordinators, and we're putting Matt in the hot seat today.
And Michelle, we didn't really talk about all the ground rules. So if one of us can't help it, wanting to answer one of these questions in addition to what Matt says, that is absolutely fine. But this is the Matt Answers Your Questions episode. So this is a big one. Thanks for joining us again, Matt.
Yeah, excited to be here. Was that your way of saying if I get the answer wrong, you're going to jump in and give the right answer?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. If it goes south, we're going to just turn it. No. We're excited to have you back. And again, Matt and I both listened to the previous episode from last year. Again, this morning, it was gold, but I'm very excited about the question. So let's hear the first one from one of our listeners, Michelle. So I'm going to make you do the first one.
So first question from the team is, hey, Matt, you know what? I am licensed. Now what? What should my first 10 working days actually look like if my goal is to earn my Fireball Award?
Yeah, it's a fun question because the challenge with anything new, I'm guessing you say I'm licensed, meaning, hey, this is my first insurance license. This is my first sales gig. This is my first 1099 entrepreneurial jump into the ocean that is working for myself, right? And there are so many things that can distract you because there's a lot to learn. You're going to be surrounded by people who have spent years, if not decades, perfecting the craft of selling Aflac. And at the end of the day, and this is what hurt me in the beginning, because I'm a student of learning. I came straight from college. I was in the habit of wanting to better myself through multiple means. And so when I started Aflac, it was study brochures, it was learn the scripts, it was practice, drill, rehearse, it was asking all the questions. And I would have somebody walk in the office and go, hey, I just set 3 appointments. And I'm like, wait a minute, but you don't know what we're doing yet. You and I started the same day. And he's like, yeah, I know. I just went out and started knocking on doors. I was like, but you don't even know what to say. And he's like, doesn't matter. I'm a people person. I can just talk. And I was like, that's not fair. And it kind of redirected my thought when it came to just learning and sales in general, because that person taught me that the more people you talk to, the more conversations you have, you will get better. It's kind of the idea of competence leads to confidence. And confidence leads to competence. The more you know, the more confident you become, but the more confident you become, the more you're willing to know. And so for me to simply answer that question is the only thing you need to get good at Aflac to be successful is having that prospecting conversation. And so I would say in your first 10 days, try to quiet the noise as much as possible of all the things you think you need to know and get really good at talking to people. And for some people, that's going to be talking to strangers. For some people, that's going to be talking to people you know. Some people are afraid of cold calling. Great. Then ask if you can practice the conversation with people that you know, like, and trust. Go into it with an open mind. Hey, I just want to practice this sales conversation I'm learning. Friends and family won't tell you no to that. They'll tell you no to a sales pitch. They won't tell you no to helping you get better at something new. And the beauty of that is along the way, maybe they like what they hear and they want to buy a product from you or join the team. So that's my advice. Quiet the noise and focus on prospecting.
Love it.
Yeah, that was solid, Matt. I always forget about the asking to practice. And that was something that was harped on so much when I started. And it works. It's a magic trick. It's great. Yeah, it totally works. Only what I would just sprinkle on that one, and this one doesn't sound great from a person that loves training and from leading the market. It's taking a ultimate responsibility of your own success right out of the gate. of having a lot of ownership of what's happening from 8 to 5 and not looking to the person that is your sales leader to be the reason why you're successful. They could be a catalyst, but ultimately you have to put in the reps and you have to be that one that does it, and you can do it right out of the gate. That would be my only one to sprinkle on top of that one. So yeah, anything that you want to sprinkle, Michelle?
No, you guys are pretty spot on of those 3 suggestions, right? Don't let your leader define your success and quiet the noise and focus on prospecting. So, Michael, you want to ask the question from caller number 2?
Yes, I'm getting I'm getting discouraged because I'm hearing no more than yes. How do I know I'm doing enough activity or if I need to change what I'm doing?
Yeah, this one's a tough one because a one no can feel like 100 no's. And so when I hear people say all I'm hearing is no, the real question is, and I break this down to 2 things. One, where are you calling? Because here's what most new agents, including myself, do naturally. I'm from Fortville, Indiana, small town. I know the town like the back of my hand. And when I first started calling Fortville, Indiana, the first place I started was Main Street. And then once I got done with Main Street, I went to the public school. I went to the biggest hardware store. I went to, the big names that you think of when you think of your hometown. Surprise, surprise. When I walk down Main Street, most of them offer Aflac. When I call the big shops, most of them offer Aflac. That's the nature of any city, any town. Because Aflac's a big company. We've been around a long time. There is a very good chance that if you walk down Main Street, every other agent who's ever looked up that zip code has walked down Main Street. And then the mistake, and I made this mistake. Okay, 46037 saturated. It's time to grab a new zip code. And what do I do when I grab a new zip code? I go down Main Street. I call the local school. And then all I do is complain about how everybody says no because they already have it, or no, that I'm the 5th Aflac agent to walk through that week. And a lot of times we take that as an excuse. To me, it's probably a reality. That is probably a hit up area. But if I find the back roads, if I find the new startups, I used to always joke when I would download leads, I would almost treat those leads as all saturated and look for the businesses that aren't on that list. Okay, I just downloaded 100 businesses on this road. Here are 3 I can see from my car that aren't on my list. They're probably good to go because they're not on my list and no one's called on them yet. And so for me, it was looking at it from that perspective. Are they all telling me no? Or am I in a beautiful spot right now where I'm following in someone else's footsteps and now I need to get off the beaten path? The other side of that, it's a psychological game. The longer you've been doing this, the more you'll be able to say, and John Tyler taught me this, right? Once you have enough money in your pocket from Aflac, you can calculate out how much no's are paying you.
Yeah.
So if I make 6 figures this year and I've heard 100,000 no's, I get $1 every time someone tells me no. And that kind of reinvigorates me walking through the door. That gets me excited. There was a time when I was a district and I actually ran a contest on who could get the most no's in a day. That was the contest. At the end of the day, I don't care how many appointments you set. Tell how many no's you got. Because if you got 5 no's, you're still figuring out how to overcome a no. If you got 100 no's and you've heard it 100 times, you've started experimenting with, okay, how do I overcome that objection? How do I still build a relationship? Because there's 3 answers you get in sales. You get a yes, and you get a no. A yes is, yes, I'm interested. The second yes is, I'm saying yes, so you'll leave. The third is a no, which at least I know where I stand. And so for me, I almost appreciate a no because it is an answer that I know what the answer is. So I would say, to answer the question, get excited when you hear a no, but also be very specific when you get that no. Is it just I need to hear more of them to overcome it? Is it still a fresh no to me? Or maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spot for right now.
Wow. That's awesome, man. I love the yes, and no. I need to reframe a couple things on that one. That's huge. No, in my own head. Because we get a lot of those middle yeses that aren't real yeses all day long. And that's a big one. It's going to lead to another question later. Other one, I was just going to tell you, I felt for me in my first year at Aflac, buildings gave me feelings. Like I had weird feelings about buildings. I'm like, that's a mean building. Don't have those. The building's not mean. I promise. The building won't hurt you. I just put too much weird emotional tie to things that aren't real. I will just say this is a little bit more advanced, but when I actually started making my prospecting approach designed to be like, hey, I know that you've heard from Aflac before, and the reason why I'm coming in is because you've heard from Aflac. They probably were pitching, an accident cancer plan. That's not the reason why I'm here. that was when I was able to start going on offense a little bit. And that's one that I feel like, again, it's something that is different than what they're hearing. Do you want to distinguish yourself from everybody else in the competition? Do you want to get the absolute best buyers in the country? Do you want to close more accounts than anybody else in the market? Well, use elevations.
I just wanted to echo what you said on the previous question too, of being a bit more strategic about the activity that you're doing, but the practice, because sometimes it's what they're saying too. It's not just the client or the prospect that they're walking into, but it could be absolutely what they are saying. I keep saying in sales school, like verbiage goes a long way. And if you're not speaking their language, sometimes you will get the objections, the no right up front. And to Michael's point, he does this on call blocks in sales school. I'm just trying to make you laugh. I'm the Aflac guy, that crazy guy, I'm the duck kind of stuff, because it's going to come up. But if you put that on offense versus defense, it does absolutely go a long way as well. So let's get one more question for our associates. This one is, I've got 3 businesses that seem interested, but none of them are moving. What's one thing that I can do this week to get one of them across the finish line?
Yeah. And we call that follow-up land, right? Where I got the yes that wasn't really a yes. It was either a half-hearted yes, or it was, hey, I like you. Michael, you made me laugh. I'm not interested, but I don't know how to tell you no. So what I say instead is, yeah, this looks good. Yeah, I think my employees would like this. Yeah, everything you said, I can't disagree with. Follow up with me in a couple weeks. And here's almost a precursor to know you're in follow-up land. When they give you a yes followed by an excuse. Yes, this looks great, but summer's almost over. School's about to start. Let's get this implemented once everybody has their kids back in school. And then once you follow up with them, they're like, yes, but Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Yes, but it's almost Christmas break. Yes, but school's almost out. Summer would be the perfect time to do this. And so they can't tell you no, but they also can't give you a yes. I look at 2 things there. One, the mistake most people make is they put all their eggs in those 3 baskets. Hey, I got 3 accounts right there ready to go. So I'm going to stop prospecting. I'm going to stop marketing. I'm going to stop working with other businesses, because if I could just get these 3 to go, I'll have paid my mortgage this month. I'll have made it. I'll have found success. And what happens is you put so much hope into those 3 that when those 3 don't happen, you've defined your success and failure around those 3, and your pipeline's run. So I always looked at staggering out follow-up. I'm going to follow up with you after this meeting within a week. After that, I'm going to follow up within 2 weeks. After that, I'm just going to reach out. I'm going to say, hey, timing is everything in business. This may not be the right time. Do you mind if I follow up with you on a monthly basis? Would you like that to be in person or over the phone? I'm happy with either one. And then what I found myself having over time was a huge leads list of presented to, not enrolled. And so for me, that was my once a month. I made a newsletter. I sent out information. It was, hey, you're on my list, want to keep in contact. And that way, if somebody walks through your door and says, hey, we're with Aflac, they're probably going to say, I'm working with Matt. Timing's not right, but he and I have a great connection. And so I've built up kind of my follow-up list that I spend maybe an hour a month working on, which leads me more time on my calendar to focus on new business that could eventually lead to a yes. Now, if I'm going to go back to that question, if you want one of those 3 to happen, doing the same thing will get you the same result. So you have to look at it and say, okay, what's changed since I presented to them? What's changed in the marketplace? What's changed in the area? How do I give a new approach? Because obviously what I said before wasn't a deal breaker, but it wasn't a deal maker. And so I need to come up with maybe a value add, a portfolio, a situation. Hey, I know in this town, 2 businesses just closed down 3 weeks ago. I'd love to show you what other businesses are doing to avoid that maybe we didn't discuss before. Or maybe before we talked about fraud protection as a value add, but I'd really like to come in with some telemedicine. Maybe you didn't know that we have employee funded plans because I positioned employer funded. Regardless of what it is, I got to come in with a new approach. And quite honestly, this isn't the question you asked, but I'll give you the answer. Sometimes the problem was we gave the business owner the ownership and power of the enrollment at the end of the presentation. And I'm a big believer I always ended my presentations with, okay, you think this looks good? Great. Now, most salespeople will put all the onus on you to now manage this going forward. all I ask of you is to do what you do best, and that's run your business. Who can I keep in touch with going forward to schedule the enrollment, grab a census, pick the perfect date for the enrollment that you trust to set up logistics so that I don't take up any more of your time from this day going forward. Because 2 minutes after walking out of their office, they're now back to work and they've already forgotten 90% of what I told them. There was need, but I put too much responsibility on them. And so I always asked for what I called was my point person going forward. You're the decision maker, but who's the point person that can set up the enrollment for me?
Man, Matt, drop the mic. That was good.
Sorry, that was 4 answers to one question.
No, because that one is such a loaded question. The first one that you said that I thought was spot on too, just repeating this one, is the ones that you think, the 3 that are right there, those probably aren't going to be the 3 that close. It's actually it's every other one that you didn't think. If you're putting them through an elevation pipeline, those are the ones that are going to surprise you and close, and they'll close fast. The 3 that you got kind of like happy emotional about, 90% of the time, those are the ones that will die and break your heart, which is fine. We all need our heart broken sometimes. Other one is, this newsletter thing. I was just thinking about all the things that people are valuing now. So like being more analog and a little bit more old school in a couple of things. Making a newsletter, you probably, and I know you probably spent like 20 hours on that freaking newsletter. And like now somebody can do that in like literally probably 90 seconds. Like it just like
Microsoft Publisher probably like.
Yeah. No. And then like, I would have shared it, given you feedback, and then we would have, whatever. So I just love that. I love the idea of doing a actual newsletter that is, branded to you, even putting some gasoline on that of just instead of mailing, like actually mail out a newsletter too, like mail a newsletter. That is so cool, we could do that so quickly nowadays. And then the logistics handoff, man. I mean, it's spot on. It's exactly what every business owner wants to hear. They're not like, oh, great, so I get to do another job. When you take control, you take them through a scope of work or actually say, hey, here's our scope of work. We're going to do this with the person that helps you run this business or, that is fantastic. So great stuff.
The very first time I thought of that was when I had a business owner tell me, I said, when's the best day to do an enrollment? And he goes, well, not Fridays because I'm busy on Friday. I'm rarely here. And I go, that sounds like the perfect day to do an enrollment. That was when I realized, man, I'm hearing advice on their schedule, not the employee's schedule. And so from there on out, I was like, I don't want the best day for you to have an enrollment. I want the best day for your employees to have an enrollment.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's funny. I always use this analogy. I'm a huge fan of when I travel for vacation. That's when I have my house cleaned because there's nothing better than coming back from vacation to a clean house. And I used to tell business owners, hey, I'm going to be gone this week. Great. Wouldn't that be a great week to do the enrollment? Wouldn't you rather be gone, come back and have your benefits done than have it be something going on while you're there disrupting your day? And then most of them are like, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Let me help you facilitate that.
Gold.
I'm stealing that one too.
Gold. I'm updating stuff right now, so.
Yeah, no, I'm like, Michelle, you're getting this, right? This is, man. Okay, so let's move to DSC track because we don't have that much more time with Matt. This is brave that this district actually said this one. Okay, but I have to read it. So
well, great. Let's do it.
I've got a new associate who's excited, but doesn't know what to do every day. What's the simplest scorecard and schedule to give them?
Yeah. And I've seen this done so many different ways. And I know a lot of people who have in the past, and I'm going to say this, and I apologize because I don't have it in front of me. I have people that would do like 100-point day where, hey, an approach is 2 points, an appointment is 5 points, a referral is 10 points, a networking, an employer presentation. You assign everything point value. And obviously the idea there is put the higher point items on there, but also give lower point items their place. So if I'm brand new, it's day one. And an approach is 2 points. I make 50 approaches today and I've made my 100 points. If I have 5 employer presentations today and they're 20 points, I've had a 100-point day. And so it's a gamification of activity. And I've even seen people take it as far as to put negative values. Lunch is -5 points. I'm not saying skip lunch, but you know what I mean? Like put things on there to show like red, yellow, green time, to where the green time activities are worth more points. And so going into that mentality, I think too often we view this entrepreneurial, you are your own boss as an advantage, when in my opinion, in the very beginning, it's a disadvantage. And I love everything about Aflac, don't get me wrong. But when I started, no one told me what 1099 meant. I thought my district was my boss. So when he told me to go out and set 5 appointments a week consistently, to me, that was the assignment that my employer gave me, and I needed to go do it. And so I fought tooth and nail every single week to never miss that metric, because to me, that was my job. And so I would urge districts to go in with the mentality of, if you were in charge and they had to do what you said, then what would a good day look like? If you were punching a time card and at the end of the day, you had to give a performance review. And if you really want to get bold, do it to yourself as well. What would you tell that person that a good day should look like? What would you reprimand them for? Again, I'm not saying reprimand them. I'm just saying if they were in a place of employment, you walked by and they were just sitting at their desk watching a TED Talk, we could argue, hey, you're learning about interpersonal communication. That's a great use of your time. Good for you. But an employer would go, why are you watching this on work hours? You can do this at 5:30 p.m.
Absolutely.
on your commute home. Don't be afraid in the beginning to be bold in your leadership and say, here's what success will breed. And it goes back to the phrase, put pressure on the system, not on the person. When you have a system that you put pressure on, it's easier to do as a leader. When you don't have a system, the pressure goes on the person. And so I'm not saying you're a micromanager, but I am saying the only difference between micromanagement and leadership is trust. And so if they trust you, it never comes across as micromanagement. It comes across as, I'm helping you succeed.
Yeah. The short-term pain of having a uncomfortable conversation to help somebody achieve their goals, it's just worth it. It's worth it. You have to remind yourself. I had to remind myself, like, hey, be brave in this moment. Because it wasn't my default. That's not my default setting, is to have that conversation. But when I know what their why is, it's actually, if I don't have it, which there's plenty of times I didn't, and I failed that person. And that was, so spot on, man. Michelle, anything you want to add?
I just took so many notes. And I think we sometimes forget to make it fun. We said it earlier too, like turning the nose into a game. And I love the idea of negative points for red time, so they understand like where you actually spend your time. And I agree with you. I think when you have a new associate start because they're coming from a W-2, and I think you said that on the last episode too, they're coming as a W-2, so you got to get them in that rhythm again until they build that ownership, right? And they can do things on their own as well. So
you got to earn the entrepreneurial title. Just because you passed your test and signed an Aflac contract, you haven't earned it yet. And so I always went into it with the mentality of, let me help you earn the right to work for yourself.
Love that.
This podcast is brought to you by Market Convention. Ever want to visit Mammoth with your Aflac friends and family? Do you ever want to ski the slopes? Do you ever want to go into the old town? Even go hiking? Well, in Mammoth, Aflac is paying for it all if you qualify. Do it for our 2027 Market Convention. We have 6 more questions that we didn't get to. So I want to go to lightning round right now. So we have to try to keep your answers less than 30 seconds, and I'll not chime in, I promise. Because this was great, and that means that I think we can trick you into a part 3.
Yeah, and honestly, if there's after this, if people are like, I want more on the 100-point day, or I want more on, we can dive in further. I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you are a celebrity here, so they'll be asking that. So, okay, so lightning round, try to do 30 seconds or less. These are fun. One habit every Fireball associate has.
I think the habit that you get into is knowing your skills. And so I'm going to go a little bit longer term, right?
Yeah.
So somebody who's been here 90 days, they know where their strengths and weaknesses are. They know how many approaches it takes to see a business owner. They know how many business owners they need to present to get a group. They know how many employees they need to see to write a certain amount. Business planning's hard in your first week because you're using national averages. Business planning's easier 90 days in because you kind of know where you stand. And then the habit they have is they don't accept what they think they're good at. They accept what they know they're good at. So you adjust your activity accordingly.
Good.
Okay, the next one is, what's one sentence every leader should say more often?
Yeah. What can I do better going into the next quarter? What can I do better going into the next month? What can I do better? I always started every CDI I did with, let's evaluate the last 90 days. First of all, as a leader, what could I have done better for you over the last 90 days? I never coach people on what they need before I ask them to coach me on what I need.
Oh, love that.
Ooh. I'm interested in Michelle's answer to this one. What's one sentence every leader should stop saying? I want to hear both of yours.
You go first.
the phrase that will kill most businesses is, this is the way we've always done it. So why aren't we doing it this way? Well, this is the way we've always done it. When you get stuck in a bad habit that feels comfortable, your business will die.
I don't know how to answer this, and I could be incorrect in this, but when a leader prospects and they say, what does Aflac do? Mike isn't teaching this in sales school. We pay cash directly for your policyholders for the have to expense. Yeah, we should stop saying that in a prospecting
I
call.
actually did not. I thought you were gonna have a totally different answer. That's a fun one, Michelle.
What do you think I was gonna say?
You know, just because I was recently watching this movie, Whiplash, when they're like, you know, what I'm going, Matt. The worst thing that a person could say to somebody good or whatever is good job. And the single most detriment of saying good job when we're not actually getting the job done, and just being honest with ourselves, like, are we doing a good job? So don't say, I think encouragement is incredibly important, but let's not say good job when somebody, you know, went on LinkedIn and researched 4 places. Yeah, that guy's also a psycho, but hey, do I identify a little bit? Yes. Okay. All right. Last one, because I want to ask Michelle this one too. What's one onboarding tool or report you wish every leader looked at every Monday?
Well, this is selfish, but having been a part of the creation of National Onboarding and On Demand, I think looking at what your agents are doing from a learning perspective early on leads them to the confidence and the competence to get in your car. And so when we created National Onboarding and On Demand, which is an hour's worth of videos and 3 virtual training courses, we built those to help an associate early on go from a 0 on the Aflac learning curve to a 3 or a 4. They're not proficient in anything yet, but they have just enough competence. This is coming from an owl that has to know something before I'll try it. They have just enough competence to have the confidence to go out with you and do the hardest part of our job, which is talk to strangers. And so for me, that's an early success barometer that I'm checking to make sure my people are in a right space to get in the car with me and go knock on some doors.
That's so good. That's so good. Michelle?
This is selfish too. Well, can I put 2? I'm going to just give 2. Every leader needs to be looking at the New Associate Elevate guide with their team every Monday to set their intentions, goals, activity, approaches, meetings scheduled, AP rent, new accounts for the week every Monday, like clockwork. And then the other one that goes hand in hand is our DSE to associate coaching guide. So they're on the same page, right? Because those things go hand in hand. So it's technically 1.
Yeah, that's a great one. Okay, we need to get Matt out of here. So I absolutely would love to do a part 3. Matt, thank you for investing your time with our team, not only at our kickoff meeting this year, not only in the other podcasts, but also with our DSC, CITs, and RSCs at Hub. We love taking all of your time, and you get requested consistently. So is there one final thing that you want one of our listeners to remember or implement next week? If you have one parting gift before you get out of here?
You know, and a lot of the people listening to this probably remember this because we did it at the Southwest Hub, but I'll give you 2. So I'm just talking to the 2 of you. Everyone else can listen in if you'd like. I opened up my session last week at the Hub by asking everybody to write down the name of a person in their life that has inspired them. Personal, professional, family, I don't care. Write down someone that has inspired you in your lifetime. The second name I had them write down was somebody in their lifetime that has made them a better person. Personally, professionally, doesn't matter. This could have been 20 years ago. This could have been 20 minutes ago. Write down the name of somebody in your life that has made you a better person. And this is the question I'll end with both of you. Is there anyone on this earth that if asked that question would have written your name down? And I don't know about you. I've got 3 kids. I've got a loving wife. I've got a lot of people that I consider very close in my life. That's probably on my bucket list, is that when I leave this earth, if that question gets asked, that somebody somewhere, even if it's my daughter, wrote my name down. And so when I look at the title of leader, not the title within Aflac, just the title in life, that's my goal, is that people walk away inspired and changed.
That, man. Let's drop the mic on that.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Michelle?
Matt, I wrote that all down. And I only have one answer right now, so I'm going to work on that today. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of the LA Legends. As Mike already said it, our team, you are a superhero amongst our team, and they learned so much from you. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you guys all for joining the LA Legends, where motivation meets practical thinking for the next legend in LA South. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.